My name's Reggie Brewer. I'm a member of the Lumbee tribe, and my job here is cultural coordinator for the Boys and Girls Club. I've been doing it for 15 years. We do a lot of beadwork, pottery. We have a kiln, so I teach them about firing and basket making. We do some basket making. We do cultural dances, powwow dances. I was born in a family of tobacco farmers, so we farmed tobacco up to the 60s. Our family started losing their allotments. There were bigger farmers buying out smaller farms, so we ended up not farming tobacco anymore. But I've always loved the idea about tobacco, and it's always been a part of our culture. I always wanted to study more about why we did tobacco, and our people have always done tobacco. They've grown tobacco in the 15 and 1600s. When the English came over here, they thought they were going to find gold, but they didn't. But they did find tobacco, and they started taking tobacco back over to England. In the 1600s, they were taking at least 1,100 tons of tobacco straight to England, and they would sell it over there. So there was no middleman. If anybody over there, the French and the Spanish, they fell in love with tobacco or maybe got addicted to tobacco, but they started liking tobacco. And they had these little throwaway pipes. They could use them pipes and throw them away, little white porcelain pipes. And they would use them pipes and throw them away. But the English monopolized on that tobacco, and they used us for a long time in growing tobacco, even here in Robeson County. They used us for a long time growing tobacco because we were good at that. That was something we knew. We knew about it, and we were good at it. And we grew other crops too. We grew corn and we grew cotton. Then later on, we started growing soybeans. But that tobacco was probably one of the standouts to our community as Indian people was the tobacco. Well, it was a way that we could make money off of because people were getting addicted and they were loving tobacco. And you had a lot of people smoking. In those days, when I was growing up, it was nothing to see people smoking cigarettes on TV and movies or commercials. The Marlboro Man and Cool's commercials started coming out, and everybody was in love with tobacco. So that meant if they were in love with tobacco, that meant we were growing a lot of tobacco. We were able to build our community off of that tobacco, build our schools, build homes. People could have money, and whenever you got money, you're going to grow, and your community is going to grow. So that was what was really important for the Lumbee people, is that we had that commodity that we could use and that we could grow as a community. We could take control of our destiny through working tobacco, and our people were hard workers. Everybody worked. Everybody in the family had to work it. Even the school system here, they knew that we had to do the tobacco, so sometimes the schools would hold back opening up for us so we could get our tobacco in, and then the schools would open up. So that was how important it was here. There are some people that still smoke cigarettes and maybe cigars. I know vaping has took a lot of that over. So the ways that we did use tobacco, we used tobacco in probably 4 or 5 different ways. We dipped it, we chewed it, we smoked it, and we used it as a medicine for bee stings or cuts. A lot of times the old people would chew it up and get it soft, and then they would put it on the bee sting and just wrap it up and leave it on there, and it would take the swelling out of it and it take some of the sting out. Even for digestive system, we would eat a certain amount of it to clean our digestive system out. So those were some of the ways that we would use tobacco in those days. Personally, I think tobacco, it probably was not that healthy in the beginning to start with, but then when you start adding all these chemicals in the field on it, where we would go in and we would top those tobaccos that had a flower, so we'd go in and top that tobacco, and it had little suckers that you would pull out from in between the leaves so the plant would grow. Now they don't do that anymore. They spray those plants, and they got a lot of chemicals on it that kill those flower tops, and it kills the seed back, and it kills those suckers. I don't see where that's healthy. And then, when they get it in the plant and they're processing it, they're adding more chemicals and more additives to make people addictive. So that's the big change in tobacco and how it's got to where it's at now, to a very dangerous product that's causing a lot of cancer. The healthiest way we use tobacco today is we pray with it. We use it to pray. We make prayer ties, and we use it as an offering when we go to the sacred fire. We use it as an offering to offer up prayers. Europeans use wine, but we use tobacco. Offer it up as a prayer offering to the fire. when we're offering that tobacco to that fire and we say a prayer, and that smoke that comes up from that tobacco when it burns is carrying our prayers up to Creator God. But we use it to pray. We use it at our drum. We'll put it on the drum and pray. We use that tobacco in that way. That tobacco is sacred. It's part of life for us. It is a life-giving plant, and that's the way we look at that. There's not a whole lot that you could say about it because we're going to use tobacco because it's part of what we do when we have ceremonies and we pray. That tobacco is a part of that. It's always going to be a part of that. It's always going to be a part of our history. We're going to smoke tobacco. We use that tobacco in a pipe when we smoke in a ceremony at a pipe. That's not meant to inhale it. It's meant to blow the smoke out for you to represent your prayers. So that's what we use that tobacco in that way for. I don't ever see it going away, but educating our people and the young people today, tobacco, we have to teach them how to use tobacco today because they're not using it to smoke with, and they're not using it to dip, and they're not using it to chew because most of them are vaping, so they're not using tobacco that way. So we have to teach them. We use tobacco when we make our prayer ties. We use tobacco when we go to the sacred fire, or we use tobacco to offer it to the drum when we sing a song that's pleasing to the Creator and pleasing to the community. We use that tobacco to bless that drum. That's the way we teach our children today. We don't have to really talk to them about not smoking it or chewing it or dipping it because they're going to vapes.